Hello, everyone. How is everybody today? I am just going to give everybody a few minutes to hop on and just welcoming you all in. Happy to be back after I think almost 3 weeks. So just a heads up, as most of you know, I am in Costa Rica. It is rain season. We have had quite a bit of storms coming in. So the internet may be unstable, unfortunately. And so I apologize for that. We have so many backups here. So I will do my best and hopefully, knock on wood, I will not get kicked out of this live. How's everybody today? Just pop on the chat if you're here and give me one word that feels alive for you today as we wait for others to come in. Buenos dias. Hello. Lots of birds. Yes. Can see this is all coming up on the chat right now. Yeah, you're definitely gonna hear the bird song in the background. And unfortunately, I'm not facing the mountains today because the sun is coming in direct and it gets quite hot. This is my background. It's not a fake background. Crazy energy, full moon. Yes, as always, lots of energy shifting in this full moon. Okay. So I'm just gonna pull up a few things, welcoming you all in before I get started. And of course, welcoming you all to the Sacred Mystery Show, where yes, indeed, topics that come up stem from the unfolding and the unravel and the walking of the path through the great mystery that is many things and our life. And before I begin, I do want to remind everyone to, if you haven't already, of course, let me see here, share, Beyond Mystic platform. Come on over and take a look at all the lovely humans who are doing such beautiful service in this world and offering their medicine to those that are, looking for different kinds of support. All of these wonderful people can be found here on this platform. Go take a look, share, take a listen. All right, let me just come out of this. All right, welcome everybody. Hello, hello. I'm going to reserve a lot of the questions as usual for the end of probably around the last 10, 15 minutes of this show. So feel free to pop things in the chat. I may not be pulling it up all together all at once as I move through this transmission, but I will allocate about 15, 20 minutes towards the end of the show to kind of just go through some of the comments and questions that I can go through. Okay, so happy Friday. Thank you. All right, today, I haven't been on here in a while. I've been pretty busy with many things going on behind the scenes. And it felt appropriate today for me to really speak about what I feel is a really huge buzzword in the sort of wellness, self-development, and spiritual communities, right? And that word is embodiment, okay? And I believe that embodiment is really, truly what seems to be, yes, it's being spoken of more. There's a lot of mystery around what that actually looks like. There's a lot of lack of actual integration and embodiment in sort of this self-development world. And as a practitioner, facilitator, priestess, I really feel a responsibility to really talk about this, because it really does need to be spoken about, because I truly believe that our greatest discernment, right? Our access to that like deeper truth must come from our embodiment. And why is that? Well, simply put, we are human and we are here experiencing the human physical realm, which has to do with body, right? All the physicalities of matter. So truly, my greatest intention for this show is to remind you of what is within you already. What is within you already? Okay, so we're gonna unravel a couple of things here, and it's gonna go fairly deep, and I'm hoping to get through it all in an hour. As you always know, with all of these transmissions that I come on, they're pretty multidimensional, so it's like I cannot go through it all in an hour, but I will do my best to kind of anchor in some ahas for you all. Okay, so basically, with that intention, may my words today really truly be a source of truth for you, and however you need to receive that, right? May be a source of guidance, however you need to receive that. Really truly this guidance and truth towards your own empowerment. Okay, because that is what I feel sort of like as a mission. Beyond identity and all this thing is to come back to a place of empowerment within ourselves. Okay. And yeah, of course, it sounds all cliche, right? Everything that is found within you, and it's all found within you. And like, I'm sure we hear that all the time. And like, the question remains is like, yeah, but how? But how? I don't get it. Like, where is it? Right. So where it can be very cliche, of course, there's a complexity, right, to it, but as well as a simplicity to all of it. Okay, so let me start unraveling this a little bit. I always like to begin with asking the question, like, what is it that we are chasing? What are we chasing, right? Are we chasing something that feels inorganic, something that's kind of like sparkly or fake, right? What are we chasing in this sort of like instant gratification version of what I like to call sometimes even like a spiritual junk food? Truly. Okay. Oftentimes, when we turn away from everything that we are in awareness that we are chasing, right, what we're actually doing is really stepping away and stepping outside of a space where we are no longer being entertained. Like, we're no longer being entertained by the fake, the sparkly, the inorganic, the quick gratification, all of that, right? And when we are no longer being entertained, right, that is where some of the deeper work into self begins, right? So it's like, what are we seeking? And from a human, like, basic need perspective, yeah, we're seeking love. We're seeking safety, right? Two very, very primal aspects of our needs, right? And in the what are we seeking, right? When I say that this is not only in you, right? This love and the safety is not just found like within you, but when we connect to love, we are actually connecting to safety. It's a both end. Okay. So when we go inward, what we are seeking is not only, like I said, in you, it's like simply is you. It's you, it's your life, and God, creator. Okay. When we come back to that place, that's what is found. And so many of us, hey, me included, I've been there. All right. So many of us are seeking, who am I? Right? What is my purpose? I hear that on a daily. Who am I? What is my purpose? And my answer to that from my direct experience is the answer can only be found like in your embodiment, it is through the sensing of the self, of which like you truly are, right? That you will find that answer to that question. And when you find the answer, right? Oftentimes we're shocked, right? That this was actually not even the right question to be asking, right? Who am I? Who am I? It's not about who we are. It's about what we are, what we are. Okay. So basically, on that note, I'm going to pull myself back up here. On that note, we can only get there through the felt sense, like as I'm saying, right? And only like feelings will bring you to that felt sense, like feeling your feelings, which again is another like whole cliche thing, right? Which essentially a lot of us are not taught how to do that intentionally, right? And it's through that felt sense that brings that knowing of like what we truly are. Because when we get to the point where we meet what we truly are is actually here to destroy everything else that we are not. Right? Let that sink in. What we are is here to destroy everything else that we are not. Yeah. And once you kind of meet what you are, right, you begin to really know yourself. And it's through that knowing that that authenticity becomes expressed and leads to everything else that we do, service, mission, purpose, right? From that place of what we are at that foundation. You know, once we get to the what we are, right, and how we know what we are and what we're capable of, the expression of that says, truly, I am sovereign. I am infinite. I am self-sourced, right? Self-sourced. I can't resource unless I self-source, right? I am electric and magnetic force, right? I am beyond identity, right? I'm beyond role or structure. I'm love. Because fear doesn't exist within that construct, right? And everything that we are not comes and stems from that current of fear. Okay. So when fear actually no longer exists, right? Sort of like within this embodied gnosis of what you are, no thing and nothing, no system, no establishment, no person, no entity can sell you, program you, bullshit you, and siphon what you are. Okay? It can only siphon and feed off what you are not, of what you are not. Okay? When you know what you are, you don't need anything else to validate this. You don't need anything else to validate this. It's powerful. And what you are only exists. I'm going to repeat it again. It only exists at the core, at the very center of your be-in of your being. Okay? So basically the fear that we see like in our collective and the mass distortions, the brainwashing, and all of this is only possible because we have left the core of our being. Okay? Somehow we have disconnected from that. And we see this distortion on both spectrums of the dark and the light. It's not all dark. There's a lot of distortions coming from that side of the pendulum. And when we are on a pendulum, right, we swing too far here or too far there, right? There's no balance. There's no center. There's no harmony. We cannot feel into the harmonic that is only found, like, right? Organic truth is that harmonic. It's an infinite field that always holds a balance. Okay. And so I ask sometimes, like, what do we find at our center, right? We find balance, we find truth, we find God, we find creation. That's what we find at the center. When we leave this place within our center, right? This is where I believe life becomes really effing scary. Okay. It's in that fear often when we are seeking, someone else or something else to come and save us. It's like when we leave that center, we seek, right? What are we seeking? We seek often, what's the next thing? What's the next modality? What's the next peak experience, maybe, right? The next practitioner, the next mentor, the next reading, psychic reading, tarot reading, oracle reading, breathwork journey, all of these things, more mushrooms, right? Even though these are all beautiful modalities, we are seeking more. And as within, so without. I always say this, an ancient principle, as within, so without. These capitalistic mechanisms of extracting, right? Because at the core, when we are disconnected from it, we have not yet discovered what we are and how whole or enough we really are, right? And where these modalities are not bad. Oh my God, guys, I am not saying, like, I am a practitioner, I am a mentor, I have used all of these modalities. There are beautiful people doing this work. Yes. What I am saying, where they are not bad, they all play a role, right, in bridging us to deeper truth. Okay. They are simply bridges. They are tools, right? It's a passage over. And this is where I go a little deeper into that question, this passage over. Okay. You're all following me? Is everybody following me? Okay, good. All right. This passage over, let's go with this. I think this is an interesting question to kind of like dig into. How are we using this passage? How are we using this bridge, right? Are we using this bridge with intention to actually embody the teaching, to embody the modality and all the gold that we gained from the understanding of what that bridged us to, right? Are we using this passage to kind of like walk over, right? Instead of walking through, right? Are we using this passage as a form of validation, as a form of bypass, right? And so when I sink into that, like when I truly sink into that, the question that comes up for me is, wait a minute, what actually occupies the space in between you and this said modality? What occupies the space in between, right? You take the analogy of a bridge and crossing over the water or over that valley or over that space, like the water, the valley, that space is essentially you. It's all you, truly. And sometimes, our deepest fear is truly meeting ourself. Like at those, like through that journey, right? It's meeting ourselves from this very sober place. And let me explain a little bit about the sober place. Sober in the sense that we aren't reaching for any modality to meet ourselves in the experience, in the ecstatic or in the grief, right? In the discomfort. We're not reaching, right? In order to not reach, it does require a little bit more regulation in the nervous system, which I will be getting to after, which is why I'm saying these modalities are great, okay? And there's more. This can be especially hard, I get it, at the beginning of one's like self-development, like your awakening journey, all the things. Absolutely, because we literally have no idea how to source what we are. Like, we haven't been taught that. It's nobody's fault, right? And so we do need the support, 100%, right? And so many people come to me constantly saying, like, I've been doing the work for years, and like then I go into like, I've been doing the work, and like I'm stuck or I'm stagnant, and like you've heard me talk about this before, and I was there, and I see you, and I am you, and I get that, and then I go into said session with an individual, and depending on what is being called upon, like what is being asked to go into, right? Because it's different for everybody. We go into oftentimes embodiment or felt transmission, right? And often I get this feedback that they've actually never been activated, right? A felt sense of activation in such a said way, right? I'm not healing you, okay? I am opening the door to safety, right? What comes through me, it's not Sylvie, it's not SELVIA. I'm opening the door to safety and allowing you to access a frequency that you may not have been able to meet with yet, right? Because most of the healing that has transpired for years hasn't yet been embodied, right? So it's foreign. And the body and like this avatar hosts all of your beingness. All of the elemental realms is in this body, all of the universe literally within you, right? And there's nothing more powerful to, and hear me out, to literally surrendering to yourself, right? You're surrendering to yourself, not a medicine, not a modality, right? This is like an evolution of surrender and acceptance of self, that felt energetic of self, from a very clear, guided, sober place. Right? And this doesn't happen in the mental realm. It's a somatic sense of being that really, really requires moving the body slowly, sometimes, depending on what the trauma is, right? In a way where it can be felt and expressed, right? And then the energy can move. So embodiment is about taking back our humanity. All right, let me unravel this piece with you. I'm just going to check in here, see what, I got a lot of, woo. I love this. Okay, I got lots of comments. I'm going to save that for the end. All right. Embodiment is about taking back our humanity. Okay. And in a very, what I like, well, it is, listen, you are not sick. The culture is. Okay. And the culture disconnects us. It indoctrinates us. It forces us into submission, right? Without consent, oftentimes with fear. Right. And these fear structures, sorry, I got this bug here. These fear structures, they erode our judgment, right? They erode our clarity, and they erode our free expression. Guys, I got this like huge bug next to me. The only way to submit or subject ourselves to any of it is through our embodiment. Sorry, what I'm trying to say is not submit. It's the only way we do not submit or do not subject ourselves to any of this is through our embodiment, right? Because here it is, like the who we become after we find out what we are, right? You can't bypass that. You cannot bypass your human. And really, truly, in my experience, our embodiment is the greatest form of physical and spiritual protection we can have in this realm. So many of us are like, oh, I've got entities and I've got this and I'm going to clear this and I'm going to clear that. Yes. Great. Clear my auric field. And yes, there is There are modalities and things we can be doing for that. But guess what? Your biggest form of protection is a regulated nervous system. Okay. And that might be like hard for a lot of people to understand, which I'm going to go into like all of that shortly as well. The laws of this realm, all right? Physicality. Light alone is not grounded. Okay. It is one of the reasons I truly believe God, literally, creator, wants us to experience, like, or how would I say this? Like, we are God, creator, experiencing himself through us, right? Grounding ourselves into this physical realm. So it's like the grounding and the centering, right? The ability to walk these worlds and be both, right? Understanding the extremes of polarity and knowing what we are not, and coming back into a balance is the truest path of transcendence that evolves us out of lower density aspects. All right. So embodiment means reconnecting and resurrecting the primal creature. We all have a primal creature that lives under our human. Okay. And the primal aspect has been shamed and hidden, unnurtured for millennia. It's been distorted for millennia. This primal aspect that is supposed to permeate through us via, archetypal energies like, the warrior, the lover, the mother, the father, the high priestess, the king, all of these things, right? These energies that have been distorted and they've been inverted by ideological beliefs. And it's these inversions and deceptions of what humans actually are, right, that cause all that distortion. And it's when we have those distortions encoded in our life force, that life force can't flow. It is not stuck. It is stagnant, right? It won't get expressed organically. It gets expressed invertedly, right? So if we look at like the warrior archetype, right? And we know any of us here who've ever been at war or who've been in like right down to like a street fight, the fight can feel very ecstatic, right? There is a component to this ecstatic experience that is conflict and war. But when we're not funneling that life force in a direction of love because we haven't been taught, right? This is where those distortions get perpetuated and they grow. So basically our life force only gets distorted, right? It not only gets distorted, but also we get disconnected from it because it's an embodied experience to actually feel our life force, right? So when we get disconnected from it, we don't know how to source it. And instead of cultivating, we extract. We don't cultivate, right? And we extract through like scarcity programming. We extract it through a mental process versus cultivating it from an in-body process, right? So when we tap into cultivation of our life force and we can feel that flow through us, we tap into the harmonic of truth. It comes from the descent, the embodiment. It comes from tapping in to the mother, matter, right? The feminine face of God, nature, this realm, our body. Your body is nature. Nature is the feminine, whether you're a woman or a man, Nature is the feminine, and we carry both polarities, both energetics, as magnet and electric. And the feminine principle, that is magnetism, that is reception, right? Our body receives spirit, moves through us. We receive it. It pulls us in, down, and in. All right. So a lot of people are like, okay, so how? Sylvia, just like, how? How? Nervous system regulation, right? And I can't emphasize this enough, and I will emphasize this till I'm blue in the face, just like my shirt, okay? Nervous system regulation. And I'll likely do another show on like sort of what the esoteric aspect of what the spiritual architecture of the nervous system is beyond its physical framework. Okay. As it's a very, very, very content rich topic, and it's super multi-layered. Okay. But for now, just if you can take something away, just understand that like dysregulation equates disconnection. Right? Disconnection equates no safety, and no safety equates no love, right? So understand, please understand that, because so many of you speak to me about this, like you can be doing all the things deemed spiritual, right? But as long as they remain in the mental space, in the mental scope, in the element of air, they are not grounded in the earth body, and therefore not actually spiritual, because true forms of spirituality are integrated. Okay. And so like in this realm, this 3D, this physical realm, this, you know, all the things that earth is and wanting to ascend to 5D and all these things that we can get lost in, right? We're here to be human. The body has become the greatest shadow. Our bodies have become the greatest shadow. The feminine principle has become the greatest shadow, the principle of nature. And the only way to really heal that is to bring expression through it, authentic essence through it, not casting it all away and utilizing only like the one aspect of the top of this body that is the mind, the brain, right? Which is a beautiful tool, right? The body is just as, if not more, intelligent than the mind. The mind is a tool, also a bridge into the body, okay? As is the womb, a bridge from down up, and the mind up down. So, you know, going back to like the people that come to me, and I get like high level, like public service or CEOs of like big companies, and like they come to me and they're like, okay, I have invested thousands into my self-development, okay? And I just can't understand why I am still being driven by this internalized systemic urgency, right? Nervous system, right? It's located at our root. It's connected to your sacral. This is where your life force is generated. You know, and are we extracting it based on programming? Are we cultivating it and moving it? Right? Because cultivating and hoarding as well is also not healthy, right? Hoarding it, cultivating and hoarding is one thing, but cultivating and moving, right? That's flow. So, ladies and gentlemen, our nervous system is the gatekeeper. It's the absolute gatekeeper, right? On so many levels. And when we are dysregulated and ungrounded, we are actually, in fact, allowing, okay, get this, like we are allowing other energies, entity, whatever you want to call it, to lurk in our field, right? And that lurking siphons the light. It siphons your life force, and it continues to perpetuate and feed off of your dysregulation, right? It hosts itself in there like a parasite, right? There's nothing to be afraid of. I am not trying to perpetuate fear at all. I am bringing awareness. There is a missing piece to all of this healing, right? Again, and I'll probably do another show on it, but it's a big reason why I also stepped away from facilitating a lot of plant medicine journeys. I'd been doing that for 5 years. And that's a whole other story. And it's not bad. It's simply to say, be in awareness of what you are opening yourself to through a lot of these spiritual modalities, right? And what you're consenting to, what you're contracting to, right? Integrity first, balance first, discernment first, right? It's by creating this like elasticity in our nervous system from a place of intention and consent, you know, saying literally like, I consent to stretching this elastic right now without me snapping it or without another modality snapping it for me, right? And I build my own capacity to be able to hold said energies. It's an extra important layer, especially if you are a practitioner, a healer, a shaman, whatever it is that you are being of service to. This is an extra important layer when we are working with people, right? To be able to masterfully regulate our own nervous systems. Otherwise, guess what you're getting? Guess what you're getting as a mirror, right? And so for me, I believe that the biggest win, the biggest game to win here, like not that there's anything to win, but like the biggest thing, the biggest win, right? The greatest form of abundance, people, is your regulated nervous system. Because let me tell you, with a dysregulated nervous system, you can do all the mantras in the mirror that you want for manifestation purposes, but your body leads the way. And you're not getting abundant when there's fear programming in your system, right? And if you are getting abundant, it's not from a place of integrity. It's not from a place of organic truth. So long as we continue to carry shame around these kind of like primal aspects, right? Shame that is not ours, right? Was conditioned and bestowed upon us from the time we were very little. You know, that could be generational, right? You will continue to loop in the same pattern that is related to fear when we can't hold the energetic of shame, that discomfort of shame in our nervous system, right? And heal that. And, you know, true connected love and nurture at its truest blueprint is often foreign to us because it does rest within the primal layers, right? Often even those primordial layers, right? It's before human, because love is not only reserved for the human, right? It's universal. It's powerful. Real love at its blueprint cannot be controlled. It's chaotic energy. And it's really hard for ego to like surrender like to that kind of love, because allowing that like truest bliss and joy of the ecstasy of what you're capable of generating, right? And generating this through the body, it can feel real uncomfortable and foreign. So the mind will often create hundreds of reasons, hundreds, thousands of reasons why you are not worthy of it, right? Why it's not profitable, why it's not productive. This is the greatest illusion. The illusion that you are absent of love. Because in the what you are, at your center, you know that you are love. And only you keep yourself from experiencing it due to fear and all the clever and manipulative ways that fear tries to get its grip into you, right? Through this illusion of safety. We got about 20 minutes left here. And I'm going to open this up shortly for some questions. I just want to say, like, God, creator, like literally could not have given us a better playing ground than this planet, truly, with all its grief, it's all its distortion, right? What are we choosing to perceive? What are we choosing to see and focus that energy on? All of its beings are truly our greatest teachers. Nature, not only our greatest teachers, but our greatest regulators, our greatest calibrators, right? For our bodies, right? Washing yourself off in like a little waterfall, or going down to a creek, or going to an ocean, or simply putting your feet on bare grass, right? That presence, huge teacher. If the nervous system is open and your body feels safe to be able to receive the transmission, right? So for those of you who have come to me, thank you. And tell me often, Sylvia, I'm stuck. I encourage you all to ask instead, right? Ask instead, where am I stagnant, right? And most of all, what is my next phase of evolution, right? What is my next phase of evolution? Because here's the thing. One of my teachers has this beautiful saying about like, when I rise, you rise. And so what I've done is I've like incorporated that, but I've used the word evolution instead. So here's the thing. Like, my evolution is your evolution, right? And when we evolve, they evolve. And when they evolve, humanity evolves. And this is what the greatest embodied masters were trying to teach us through a oneness consciousness, right? As me. And the oneness of body and spirit, the oneness of mind and emotions, right? There's no one without the other. And you guys all want to know what I think our next phase phase of evolution is actually going to be? I would hope anyway. It's truly, I believe, when we don't need to bridge anymore. When we don't need to bridge anymore, right? Because we are with one, at one, and that is what we are. Not seeking outside ourselves. So I hope this landed for you all. And I'm just going to go through some comments right now, actually. Let me take a look at this. Whoa, lots of comments. Okay, here we go. Hello. Why are so many intuitives, astrology, and tarot readers warning about the pitfalls of addiction? Yes, well, I'd love to answer that. Well, because where does the pitfall of addiction come, right? We're outsourcing. Like, we are looking outside of ourselves for the fix, the comfort, the relief of the pain, right? And so what we have literally gone through in these last 3 or 4 years, right? These like mass awakenings, a mass destabilization of a lot of the collective's reality, right? When the shadow comes to light, that rocks the world, right? And so there's a lot of people who, again, based on conditioning, beliefs, programming, they may not be getting the kind of integrated support that is required. It's either not available. It's either like out of their like financial means. It's or either like they're too proud to ask for it, right? There's many reasons why that becomes that way. And so many human beings turn to addiction, and addiction can look many different forms. We can have quote unquote healthy addictions, right? The spiritual seeking, like going to the next thing, that's a form of addiction. It doesn't have to only be drug related or like, alcohol related or pornography related, right? It's the seeking is the driving force of addiction. And what lays under addiction, the truest addiction is the addiction to shame. And it's the energetic of shame that propels you into the seeking of outside and validation and comfort and all the other things, right? I hope that was okay. Let's see. I love this. You guys are lots of things in here. Thank you for sharing. Like, I'm getting a lot of shares aside from questions. Yes, we have been so programmed on multi-levels to always look outside ourselves. Thank you for recognizing that. Yeah. Yes, love has an eminent domain over all. There is no fear in pure love. Yes, we are whole in our soul. Thank you for this. This is beautiful. I have been afraid to learn of my true power. I think we all have at some point. This is absolutely normal. That's the greatest thing is often like really finding out what we are and understanding how to wield that power in with humility, right? How to wield this and like, how can we be responsible when we know the potency of our empowerment? How are we responsible with that, right? Let me see here. At SELVIA, don't you think sometimes it's not an entity on the person, but a shadow part of themselves that needs to be worked on? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not like it's not clear cut, like black and white, this or that. There are many reasons. Like, there are many degrees to energetic distortion, right? And I like to say that like shadow is not like, people get a lot of times darkness and shadow mixed up because there's so many teachings on it, and it's like it can be very nuanced, right? Essentially, yes, is there evil in this world? 100%. We're not going to bypass that, right? Again, for me to say that, well, that evil is still of the light. Sure, it is essentially from like a really expanded esoteric perspective, but it's the bypass of like, again, there are laws, universal laws on this planet, in this realm, that cannot be bypassed. So, for example, I am one with this snake. Great. Am I gonna like walk up to the snake and like, play around with it if it's like this really venomous, poisonous snake? Probably not. So this is what I'm saying is like, we cannot bypass the realities of this particular physical realm, right? And we have to start understanding that this whole like rise of healing, this rise of wellness, the rise of information, like there is so much information at our fingertips, so much, right? What I am speaking to you about has been based on my experience, my perception, my feeling into my truth. That doesn't mean that it's your truth, right? That doesn't mean that that's your experience. So this is about discernment. And when we can all individually learn how to come into that deeper connection of the mystery of truth within ourselves, right? We begin to be in resonance with the greater aspects of what is in fact truth. Because there's your truth, there's my truth, and then there's only truth. That's the difference there, right? Okay, I'm just looking at some of the things here. Yes, your nervous system is the most accurate and helpful feedback system you have, for sure. Very difficult to relieve distortion when you look into someone's eye just before you are going to kill him. Well, that's a great, yeah. I mean, listen, again, what is taking over within? Like this is a very multi-layered topic, very multi-layered, right? We can bypass all the things. Remember that when I am speaking to this platform, when I come on here, I'm having kind of like an open like I don't want to say conversation because I can't really conversate with everybody. But I do believe that when we are walking this path, it is so important to question everything. It is. Curiosity is key. Openness is key, right? There's not one thing that is absolute, other than, in my personal experience, that direct connection to source. So I open this space up for, a version of all of your expressions and truths, with boundaries, of course. But yes, we all perceive things very differently. Grounding is important right now. Yes, thank you for that. Yeah. Oh, I love this. Yes, I'm going to be planting some herbs and grounding right now. Amazing. Yes. I do not consent. No more lurking. Yes, I love this. Yeah. Thank you guys. Like they're beautiful comments in here. I can't like get them. I cannot get through them all in the next like 7 minutes. But yeah, I definitely resonate with like so much of what you guys, I'm still looking at the comments here. So much of what you guys are saying. Yeah. And that's it. Like most people are on survival. Somebody just said, people are not negative. They are on survival. Yeah. Because our like natural state of being, right? Our natural state, like of who and what we are, beyond the human, right, is infinite. It's an iteration of many aspects of consciousness, right? It is joy. It is ecstatic, right? And we come here to experience the polarity of a lot of that. And when we experience that denser polarity, it does trigger us into survival. And, where we act from that place can be very dense, for sure. Yeah. I love this. Thank you, everyone. I really, really appreciate all of these beautiful comments, which I actually take the time to go through after the show. Yeah. Setting boundaries is important. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Well, I'm going to take this time now to actually do a little more quick housekeeping. And let me see here. I'm going to try to pull, I don't know, my system is not working so well today. So I just have to, I want to pull some things up for you guys. Here we go. Here we go. So I just want to see if I can get that up and running. You'll have to forgive me. I'm not a tech. I'm learning how to use this platform and I'm like, well, too much left brain stuff. So yeah, just bear with me as I try to pull all of this up and learn how to use all of these like systems behind the scenes. But I do want to, here we go. Let's see if I can get that up this way. Here we go. Just remind everyone about the beautiful pieces at Ascension Organites. There are some beautiful, absolutely divine, handcrafted pieces made by a lovely friend of the Beyond Mystic platform, who curates these very intentional, made with love, very powerful pieces. So I encourage everybody to just go take a look, check it out. And if there's anything that inspires you and calls to you, I say invest in yourself. All right. I'll put this back up here. And of course, always remember to go and like or share the Beyond Mystic platform. Again, so much wonderful information on there to help support everybody's journey, whether that's nervous system or spiritual or, you know, all of these wonderful things as we walk this path of transcendence together. So I want to wish everybody an amazing and lovely day. And of course, I've got 3 minutes left. So if there's any more questions, I'm happy to take one more. I'm looking here. No. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I'm getting a lot of thank yous. You're most welcome. Have a great day. Yeah, lots of comments and less questions. So yay, amazing. All right. Well, I'm going to be signing off and I look forward to speaking to you all again. And again, just deep gratitude for coming here and spending this hour with me. And I really hope that my words landed in whichever way they needed to land for you all. And yeah, just sending everybody deep love. All right. Bye-bye.